putting yourself out there, especially if you create content or you do anything in this day that has to do with posting something on social media or creating any content or doing anything meaningful these days, right, would attract criticism. Okay. The key is to be able to identify what is constructive criticism and what is destructive criticism, right? Welcome back. In this transformative video, we will explore the 9 powerful secrets that can help you transform your life into a life of abundance. And I'm so glad to share these insights with you. And I believe that at the end of the video, I would have provided some fresh perspectives on these points that would help you towards your life and your business. So let's dive in. Awesome. So the first one, or the first secret or system, is about time blocking for productivity and spontaneity. Basically, what do I mean by that? The crux of the matter is that finding balance between structure and spontaneity can be a game changer, and I would explain. So what happens is that typically most people are either very spontaneous in nature, that's they're working, they don't have any plan, they don't have any structure, they just go with the flow. On the flip side too, others can be very structured, very strict, no room for any spontaneity or anything that doesn't fit into their structure is discarded. Both of them, both extremes can be detrimental. The sweet spot is finding the right balance between spontaneity and structure. And one of the things that is very helpful, but I think for me, with myself, is that I do what I call time blocking. So I have several things to do in the day. And most of the time, if I'm not very careful, I get taking, I get carried away by the work that I'm doing, that I tend to probably push away family time and those kind of things. It can be bad. So what I've learned to do this day is to block time. So if I need to, let's say, right, I do content for my own business. I do this video as well. So I structure, and I said, okay, on this on Wednesday morning between the hours of 9 to 11, that's when I do all my video stuff. So I chunk the time, so that once I chunk the time for the big things that I'm doing for my business, or it could be career for you, there's going to be moments. Let's say if I finish doing my videos and I finish maybe writing a report or doing a sales call, or I have time for sales call, I have time for meetings and that kind of thing, there will be some loose 1 hour, 2 hours here. That gives me the freedom to be spontaneous. Maybe somebody could call, or somebody could just walk into the office and I will have time for them, right? Or maybe I will just need to maybe walk my daughter to go and get some ice cream down the street. I have the time to do that. So there should be that kind of a balance between rigid structure and spontaneity, right? Okay, so the next secret is, we entrepreneurs, and actually I would say high performing professionals, one of the key things that I tend to do is have what I would recommend is consistent check-ins with loved ones. Consistent check-ins with loved ones. The issue is that sometimes, because of the work that we do, we get so engrossed in it. There is never a lull time in our busyness in life, right? Never a downtime. Sometimes what happens is that people like us, we tend to overlook those who mean so much to us in our life. So talking about parents, our spouses, our children, close friends, close relatives, close church members, that kind of thing. People who mean so much to us. Sometimes we accidentally brush them off because we are busy. So to have an abundant life, we need to figure out a way to have a consistent check-in with them. So one of the things that is helpful is to set up a reminder call or a reminder system that reminds, okay, hey, every Thursday between the hours of, let's say, 4 to 4:30, can you call to check up on, let's say, mom or dad? Or every Saturday in the early hours of the morning, can you take your little daughter out or your little son out for that 30-minute just football that you play with them? Or just, hey, a good friend or maybe an old schoolmate who is so much important in your life currently. Hey, set up a time that, okay, I'm going to check in on this guy maybe every 2 weeks or every 3 weeks. You can schedule that on a Google Calendar or any calendar application that when the time comes, it prompts you to check up on them, so that it doesn't look as if since you started running your business or you started doing quote unquote the big stuff, you've neglected people. It happens. It happened to me so many times. Sometimes I felt bad when I've not been able to check up with good friends for months, and it's not like it's my doing. It's not nothing intentional about it at all. It's just all the responsibilities about life and the workload just automatically pushes close friends and acquaintances out of my view, and it's a bad thing. So the next thing that will just piggyback on this is, if your business or your work schedule allows you to travel, or there's a lot of travel in your day-to-day activity, you need to do a lot of traveling, maybe overseas, whatever it is that the travel is. You need to do what we call point number 3 is going to be, you have to have deliberate travel planning. Deliberate travel planning in the sense that, okay, I'm traveling to, let's say, London for a conference. Most of the time, it would be great if you'd have plan ahead that, okay, I'm going to London. Is there any close friend, close relative that lives in London or in the vicinity that I can go see as part of my business trip? Because human beings, we are not islands, we are interrelated. So let's say, go to London, and then a friend of mine who's been very instrumental in my life, I just call or I just happen to be in London, and I just find time because I've planned the trip. That, look, I'm going to see this chap and his family. He's not seen me for, let's say, a year or two, maybe 5 years. And then all of a sudden I call him, hey, Kofi, and I'm in London. I just want to, come home and say hi to you and the family. Remember, all that we're doing is nurturing meaningful relationships, right? Meaningful relationships. So I call Kofi. Kofi knows that I'm coming to his house not because I need anything, not because I want anything, but I genuinely want to reconnect with him. I genuinely want to sow a seed of relationship, of love, of compassion, to show that I care. So once I do that, I believe that it's going to have a meaningful impact into the life of my friend. My friend is going to feel important. He's going to feel that I care about them because I do not need anything from him. I do not need any material thing or emotional thing. I'm just coming to genuinely show that I care. That is impactful because these kind of relationships, they are like seeds. As we grow them, as we nurture them, as we nurture these kind of relationships, what is going to happen is that because they are seeds, they are going to germinate, they are going to bear fruit. A time is going to come that you wouldn't need to ask anybody anything, and people will be there for you. So this is one of the key advice that I would recommend, that when your business or your career involves around travel, try to plan it to include loved ones within your travel schedule, right? Okay, then the next point is you're going to learn how to embrace constructive criticism, right? I know putting yourself out there, especially if you create content or you do anything in this day that has to do with posting something on social media or creating any content or doing anything meaningful these days, right, would attract criticism. Okay. The key is to be able to identify what is constructive criticism and what is destructive criticism, right? So if you identify that the criticism is just destructive, right? It's just nuisance. Hey, look, I think instead of being angry and resentful about those kind of things, just sometimes just laugh it off. Just laugh things that hold no value to your future, to your destiny, to the work that you do, to the impact that you're making. Those things, learn to write them off. Learn to write them off. And essentially, for the constructive criticisms, you gracefully accept them. You gracefully reflect on those kind of criticisms, because most of the time they are very helpful. If you would learn to minimize your ego in thinking that you are Mr. or Mrs. Know it all, done it all, seen it all, you are going to hit a brick wall very soon. But if you open yourself up, that look, I do not know it all. Actually, when I'm looking forward, I can only look probably within maybe a 90 to 120 degrees. It doesn't mean that the things that are not within my vision, my sphere of vision, don't exist. They do exist. It's just that I don't see them. I'm not able to focus them. That is what constructive criticism is for, because the other people around you can see beyond what your vision, your visionary sphere can see. So we make room for that. I remember when I started doing YouTube videos, and I think my second or third episode, I posted something there. It was a little bit of controversial topic, and I think it was about Rastafarians, and some kids were kicked out of school because they've done dreadlocks in their hair. And I took a very different view of that. Immediately I got some hit back from unknown sources. Man, some of them were very nasty. But I just laughed it off, because for most people who would offer you destructive or non-constructive criticism, they sometimes even do that anonymously. So whenever you see anonymous criticisms, most of the time you know that those people are not brave enough to even display their identity. So just brush those things off. Don't go after them. Don't waste your time on them, but just focus on the constructive side of things. Then the next point is you have to planning for the future and cherishing the present. Look, I've been there. Most of the time, you're so focused on your vision, so focused on the goal. It's like you're like you're on a hamster on a treadmill, basically just going and going and going and going without actually taking a breather to take stock of the progress that has been made already. We all fall into that. That we're going, we're kicking, we're hitting targets, we are hitting targets and hitting targets and hitting targets without thinking and considering that life in itself is finite. We have a finite time on earth. God has given us a finite time on earth. And some of the best things in life is pausing to take stock in between our goals. Take stock to cherish or savor the little moments, the joyful moments of our lives. A goal would be to build maybe a company of 1,000 people, 1,000 employees, right? Making waves all over the world, all over town, all over multiple countries. Maybe that's a goal, right? But have you taken the time to celebrate the first sale you made, or the first employee that you had, or the first 10 employees? It's an achievement. It's an achievement. And most business people miss that, because a good friend of mine who's very, very wealthy told me something that was very remarkable. That, hey, look, Isaac, I've gone through life and I've seen that life is not about the destination. It's about the journey. It's about the journey. The moment, or the moment you focus too much about the goal and miss the journey, you miss a great deal in life. I said, wow, that was very, very profound. That really shook me. He said, look, the richer your journey, the richer your journey's experience, the richer your life. The richer the ups and downs in your journey and your ability to overcome them, the richer your script in life, and the richer your destination is going to be. That was very, very profound. So don't postpone creating memorable experiences, particularly with you and your loved ones and your immediate circle. Don't postpone that. I would recommend to say, as it ties in with all the other things that I've said, have time for people, have time for family, your wife, your kids, your husband. Have time, celebrate moments, right? Cherish those moments. Maybe you may need to travel to gain experience, maybe travel to some resort here and there in between your work schedule, so that you create rich experiences for your children. We took our kids some time back to a remote part of town in Ghana, and because they've lived in America all their lives, up to that point, and they've seen how other people are going through their own lives. They've seen poverty, they've seen some degree of riches, and they've seen that contrast. To me, was a very enriching experience for our kids. And sometimes that's what they talk about. It's like, oh, wow, Dad, do you remember when we went here? Do you remember what we did here? Do you remember what we did there? It's very, very enriching. And when we sit back and we relax in our couches, those are the things that we cherish the most, right? So we should plan for the future, all right? But we need to cherish the present, right? You should cherish the present. Okay, now the next point is cultivating high leverage opportunities. Life is all about leverage. Life, let me repeat it again. Life is all about leverage. If you don't deploy leverage, you're going to only take incremental organic steps in life. Or you're going to only take incremental organic steps in life. But there's something better than that. There's ability to quantum leap, to quantum jump. So it's crucial to identify high leverage opportunities as you go about your business. High leverage opportunities that have the capability to produce significant quantum leap impact. Significant quantum leap impact. So let me give an example. So when I say high leverage simply means I put in an input. An input could be maybe 2 hours of work, right? And I generate an output that is disproportionately higher than the input that I put in. So let's say I put in 2 hours worth of work into something that I'm working on, and then it generates potentially 2 years or 5 years of returns. 2 hours of work generating 5 years of returns. That is quantum leap. That is game changer. Let me drill down. So remember in the past, when musicians used to produce music, they would put it on CDs. Circular CD that we put in a CD player, right? And they will be selling it. Typical musician, if they don't have a record label, they'll probably be selling it from the trunk of their car, or Europeans call it the boot of the car. They'll sell it one CD at a time, or you have to go to the music shop to buy the CD. Then all of a sudden, we had Apple, we have Spotify, we have Pandora, we have so many other music distribution outlets. So now, what a typical musician would have done, we're just selling one CD at a time. Because of leverage, platform leverage, like Spotify, like Apple Music, and the likes, all of a sudden, if it took them 3 months to sell 1,000 albums, with the leverage that these platforms provide, they are now able to sell tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of album sales in 24 hours or if it's that dramatic, let's say in 2 weeks, they're able to sell that. That is called leverage. So you are looking for opportunities by which you can leverage whatever you are doing to achieve exponential results. Another example is, let's say you sell, let's say, an insurance policy, a life insurance policy, whatever policy that you could you could collaborate with, let's say, a trade association, right? The trade association is doing a big convention. You partner with them. Now, look, you have my target market. People. Let's say it's a trade association for for real estate brokers, and there are 10,000 people that are going to be showing up for the event. So you can partner with this association and say that, look, can you give me a slot to come and talk to your members about insurance, life insurance, or whatever insurance product that you're selling? And when we sell, the commission that comes in at any sale will split the commission with you 50-50. Okay, I know it's a hypothetical example, but I think you can come up with so many creative ways of doing that, right? Hospitals can do this, where they can go to places and then pitch groupings of people, because the groupings, they have the distribution channel, they have the massive distribution. So all you go is you just go and connect into that massive chunk of distribution, and then you do a revenue share. That would exponentially grow your business compared with going it organically and going it solo, right? Okay. Then the last but one point is prioritize your mental well-being. A lot of people are going through stuff. A lot of people are going through depression, anxiety. These are all mental health issues, right? If you're having a headache, you probably get a Tylenol or paracetamol or Advil or whatever pain medication that you need. It's the same. People go through mental health challenges. One of the things, you don't necessarily are not mental health expert, but you don't necessarily probably have to take a pill to get better mental health, although there's nothing wrong with that. But sometimes there are things that you can do to help guard, protect your mental health. So things like taking time off, journaling things, so that you are not cluttered, you're not always mentally cluttered, right? Engaging in outdoor activities. So for instance, go to the countryside once in a while. Go to the countryside, just relax, so that you'll be able to get your creative juices back. I've been doing this for a while. Every 3-4 months, I go on a personal retreat, that I get time to sit, to reflect, to pray, to plan, and then come back. So after every 3 months, I do that, go on a 2 or 3 day retreat in a very remote part of town. As I do that, and I come back energized and I'm refreshed. The stress levels are down, because I keep distractions to a minimal point. Distractions to a very, very, very minimal point. I turn my phone off most of the time, because I'm either meditating, reading an inspiring book, spending time in prayer, because I believe in prayer. And then I do that to get my mental health juices back. And then I'll say, okay, so the next point this is actually the last but one point, is that authentic storytelling and vulnerability. Most businesses, or most business owners would do well with great storytelling. There's so much power in authentic storytelling. Nobody gives a crap about telling all these I would say facts and principles, and those things, people tend to forget them very, very quickly. But if a compelling story has a powerful ability to stay with people for years. So if you're a business person, you're gonna have to find a way to utilize the power of powerful, deep, emotional level storytelling that embraces authenticity and vulnerability. I think one of the people that I've seen that have done this so well, I read a book recently, it's called Believe It. Let me see if I can even find it. Yes, It's called Believe It. And the author, her name is Jamie Ken Lima. I believe if you are a female, and you, particularly if you're a female, you're an entrepreneur, this book is a must. It's quite a voluminous book, though. It's over 300 pages. But it's amazing about how this lady picked herself out of nowhere, created a brand new cosmetics line with no proper experience, nothing. It just came out of her desire to see women look beautiful and accept who they are. And she created this cosmetic line, and how she was able to break through the glass ceiling by challenging big brands, and like L'Oreal and the big ones, Sephora and all those big, by challenging them was because she told an authentic story. And she was very vulnerable. She became vulnerable. For instance, when she got the opportunity to sell her product, actually present her product on QVC, which happens to be the leading shopping TV channel, if not probably in the world now. When she got the opportunity to do that, and all she had in her bank account at that time was less than $1,000 with her and her husband. So their whole world was dependent on this. Many people would have employed consultants, image consultants, to do the presentation on their behalf, because this is high stakes, high risk thing. For QVC, you get one shot. One shot, that's it. If you mess it, that's the end. You never get a chance to be on QVC. This lady decided to play the risky game by being authentic and go to present her product on her own. Although she was a plus size woman, right, with skin conditions on her face, she decided she was going to be authentic and tell a very authentic story about her product. And boy, oh boy, it worked. Fast forward, she sold that business for $1.2 billion to, I think, L'Oreal. And the rest, they say, is history. So there is power in not discounting your painful experiences and being able to retell those painful experiences at a deeper and an emotional level that ordinary people can connect. And once they connect, they believe with you, they believe you, they believe your brand. They buy into your story and they buy into your brand. And that's the power of authentic storytelling. And finally, you need to redefine what success means. Redefining success metrics. Redefine your success metrics. In this day and age, the traditional definition of success is, having a flashy car, flashy days, living in a mansion, and having social media followers and all those kind of, I call them fleeting metrics, fleeting success metrics. The good old, for me, I believe you have to sit back and redefine what success really means to you. I would encourage that you focus on personal growth, things that make a positive impact in other people's lives. That is what I call success. If I'm able to impact one person's life at a time, that is success. If I'm able to live a life that is aligned with my values and my goals, that is success. Success doesn't have to be with all these kind of shiny object syndrome. My definition of success as a Christian is very simple. There's a scripture in the book of Proverbs, chapter 10, I think 22, that says, Proverbs 10:22. I'll paraphrase it, right? You can check it out. It says, this kind of the true and lasting riches, right, comes from God, and it has no sorrows. God gives us true and lasting wealth that does not attach sorrows to it. There are a lot of people whose riches come hand in hand with sorrows. Sorrows, bad marriages, bad relationships, bad health, bad this, bad that, poor social sphere, and that kind of thing. They go to bed, they can't sleep. Man, that is not success. Success is when your life aligns your life aligns with your values. Success is when you're able to, you probably are not making $10 million, but you're making maybe $100,000, but you didn't bribe an official, or you didn't take a bribe to get that $10 million. You didn't take a bribe. You didn't give a bribe. You didn't cut corners. You were loving to people. You were cherishing to people. So when you go to bed, you're able to sleep soundly, right? The needs that you have, yes, you may not have $100 million in the bank, but anytime you need something, that thing is provided for. That, to me, that is success. Because scripture says, my God provides all our needs according to his riches. So if you don't have the money in the bank account right now, but when you are taking that step and the money shows up, you are successful. You are successful. You are successful. So I don't want you to put so much pressure on yourself trying to be like somebody, drive like somebody. Hey, look, there's nothing wrong driving a great, awesome car. Drive it. If that makes you happy, if that aligns with your goals and your values, drive it. Do that. But don't just copy somebody because society expects you to show off, right? You don't show off. For me, the greatest success is, hey, look, I have a good place to be. I have a good place to live, right? I have a wonderful relationship with my spouse, wonderful relationship with my kids. We're playing around, goofing around. I don't have the pressure, financial pressure of lack and want, right? And my life is also at the same time able to touch people, maybe helping some orphanages, helping some poor people, being able to help pay some school fees, being able to help pay some medical bills of people, being able to make somebody smile, going to the grocery shop, right? And I see a lady with 3 kids, maybe a single mother who is struggling, and I say, hey, mom, don't worry about your grocery today. I'm paying for all of it. That is success. That is success. Right. So I hope this, this little piece of video I was able to resonate with you. You drove a little bit of value out of it, and I would appreciate if you did. Why don't you share? Why don't you like this video so that it encourages us to create more content like this? All right. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you again in my other videos. Awesome. Thank you.